think you have this amazing ability to initiate the topics and questions, and like it's like not only that, of course, but you're always up to that, and this is what I like about it.
I'm interested, and this is at least something that is getting me going, because my biggest issue right now that I'm facing, I have different passions. And I'm in the process of reinventing myself. So I'm feeling a bit blocked because I don't know which path to choose, because I have so many different interests. But at least this is what I'm enjoying to do. And even with this, I'm reaching a certain point where I want to be more action-oriented and grow discipline as a skill, which is important.
Yeah, for sure. Like discipline is one of the greatest masteries we have to acquire, I guess.
Yeah, because I feel like with the spiritual journey, you're learning, you're searching within, but then there's going to be a point where you actually need to apply discipline. It's not just pondering or reflecting or something like that. You need to have that discipline.
At the beginning, you are eating it as a dessert. You're enjoying the information, and at a certain point, you come to the point that you want to have practical materialization of everything you have digested. So you want to apply it and see how it works, how it affects you when you actually apply it, you know, and that's why you come to certain discipline. Perhaps myself, for the last 2 years, I realized how important is to pay attention to the physical body. Before that, I was more into reading, meditation, and etc., and seeking knowledge and working with subconscious, which I love, but the body itself was left behind, and the body was something that, how to say, pushed me to do certain discipline. By discipline, I mean myself practically, a bit of exercises, not much though, you know, not like.
Is that why you're experimenting with more like vegan options, I guess?
As for vegan options, yeah, like definitely vegetarian without any struggle, and then a vegan it also is taking place naturally, you know. I'm into, like, I quit milk how many, like 2-3 years ago, and it's not like I was suffering. However, I can buy ice cream, which is a typical milk product. I mean, I love vegan ice cream, but it's not obligatory for me to have vegan ice cream. I can have any ice cream or yogurt or butter, whatever, but the proportion of the milk products is just so small. But at this point, I cannot call it discipline. It was more of curiosity and experiment based, I guess. And at the same time, there was no any difficulty. It all took place naturally. It was very natural. And at the same time, at the same time, sometimes I'm looking at certain part of milk product and I'm thinking, shall I get it or shall I not? Shall I stay or shall I go?
Yeah, it's the part where you're listening to your physical body. You understand how what you're eating and what you're doing and what you're thinking is affecting you. But then, you want to have this discipline, but then there's going to be the decision-making aspect, right?
So
that
actually,
can be quite problematic sometimes.
Absolutely. I think the good way to fool your lazy mind, let's say, or habits, is not to give yourself certain obligation. Like in last year, I wanted to try to take like cold shower exclusively, and like no hot water, just cold shower. Watching Wim Hof, I was very inspired.
I love Wim Hof,
and basically I was like, okay, I'm gonna try, but I'm not gonna do that like 10 years or God knows how long. I just want to try it and see how it goes, and I will keep it as long as I want. And that sense of freedom gave me the push. So 10 months I was taking the cold at least 9 months, I was taking the cold shower, and I was embracing it. I was like, I was in certain way even dependent on this feeling which I got after the cold shower. And then again, naturally, I came to the point that my body no longer requires that, and I quit. And then after a while, I like realized that, okay, I'm gonna try again, how to see how my body is reacting, because I didn't take shower like a month or something. And then I realized it was a little bit harder, but it was not as hard as doing it for the very first time. So like my body memorized that, like my heart is not beating so strong, and etc. And since it's very hot right now, back home, in my country, if to be honest, for the last week, I'm saving myself with a cold shower, and I do it like a couple times per day. If it's not swimming, it's a cold shower or cold bath. Like it was sort of a discipline without discipline.
Yeah, I guess sometimes you shouldn't be so too rigid, but then sometimes you have to force yourself. It's like it's some kind of musical you have to play where there is some kind of
sense of feeling.
But you have to decide for yourself. You have to decide for yourself.
Like you're not machine, you're human.
Yes, exactly. I guess it's not to judge yourself and just to love yourself and to accept who you are, but then go forward and do that discipline art. It's a nice kind of sense of equilibrium between love and now it's time to discipline myself. Yeah.
Absolutely agree with you. I think it all starts from self-acceptance, who you are. It doesn't matter how much you have gone far, how much you have evolved or not, if you have bad habits or not. It doesn't matter. What is important is to accept yourself, love yourself, and treat yourself perhaps as if you are treating the baby who's learning to make his first steps. And you make discipline, but it's not so strict because you are a living being. Like you're doing it with love, and then it actually helps you out to go further and further. So I agree with your vision and idea regarding this. You see, Dina, that's what I'm talking about. You have this amazing ability, raise up the topics. And this is what we need, I was like, it's a shame that the other people did not show up, because you would initiate a big discussion about hundreds of topics.
All of them are amazing. I'm sure they can also initiate, It's just that I'm kind of curious, like digging into the truth. And I think that's how we became friends as well, and me contacting you, asking you questions. And you were so nice with me and very patient with me. I really appreciate that. Yeah.
My pleasure. I also enjoyed, how to say, our little starting point in the Facebook. I just see it very positive. Perhaps at this point it's maybe small, but already I see it as a wonderful beginning of something beautiful.
Yes. It'll be interesting to just be further connected with a sense of community of like-minded people, so we can support each other. And I think that's also one part of how to raise one's awareness. Yes, you can do it within yourself, but then you also need others who can mirror you and show you, who you are and who they are, in order to, raise the awareness, because sometimes we do have blind spots.
Oh, we all have. Myself do, and the rest of the people. That's the beauty of it.
Blind spots. Like, even though I'm raising my awareness, I still have blind spots, and we will always gonna have blind spots.
It's like an onion with many layers.
Yeah. Lots of layers. Oh my God. Yeah. But it kind of makes me like, for me, that journey of raising awareness is also make me quite compassionate to people who are narcissistic, because I've noticed, especially on a lot of the spiritual Facebook groups, I wouldn't say there's a lot of hate, but there's some kind of sense of condemnation towards narcissistic people. And to be honest with you, I've had an experience with a relative who is narcissistic, and those people are hurtful. But I also feel they do not come with a certain software that allows them for further like self-awareness and raising their awareness. So I feel it's almost like emotional disability. And I'm not a psychologist, I'm not a therapist, I don't have the science to back what I'm trying to say, but I
But
feel
you have 3811. You have 3811.
Yes, it's interesting. Yeah, so I guess what I'm trying to say is that sometimes I feel not all of us are born with the full tools to reach that sense of awareness. And I don't know why. And how is that even fair? You know?
Well, because every soul has different level of education and lessons. And it's like you're going to the high school and there are different grades. And you cannot expect one pupil to understand your material if you're in different class. That is why even the fairy tale or the book or the movie can be seen in different level of awareness. One person can see just the front things, fighting and screaming or whatever. The others can see certain philosophy, emotions, relations, and then the other person may see some profound spiritual background and analogy or metaphor with the real world or his own life and etc. And this is just different level of perception of reality, which is based on individual level of, again, each person. That is why it's not like we all have to be spiritual, and some would require more time, some people less, but when souls are coming young for the very first times, like their sense of exploration, they're like children who just want to explore. They want to rock, and they're very material based sometimes, you know. And you're like kind of have tested decades or hundreds of lives, and you no longer want it. All you want is just a light at the place you came from, and then you're struggling going back, and you just look at them from the perspective of love. You don't look at them from the perspective of certain superiority, because there is no point, since we're made from exactly the same essence. We all made from the same essence. You can live more lives or less lives, and again, sometimes soul can evolve much faster, you know. It can evolve within one life. You can evolve much faster than the other soul within a couple of lives, because it's very individual. It's just the same time with the subject in school. At one subject you can be better than the other person, and the other way around.
We all have our strengths and weaknesses.
But the good thing about creating all of that is increasing vibration, because when people collectively are gathering together, they are multiplying this vibration. If you meditate, let's say, on light or something, as a one person, it's wonderful. But if 10 would do that, then each of them will amplify it. And that's why I'm sure you have heard about this experiment when there was particular group meditation done, in that territory district, the crime went down statistically. It's actually even it's really possible thing. So if you like gather at certain time and point, if you do that and send that positive intention, you can clean your district, like your area, and that vibration of that environment is physically, energetically changing, and the person who has lower vibration do not feel comfortable by going there anymore. And the other way around, it's like you're doing cleaning and you feel comfortable. That's why there is a sense of importance, because the only thing we have to understand that, yes, not all souls will wake up, and that's absolutely normal, because that's their journey and exploration. But the more light you have inside, the more you can give. And by that, by that is just first thing is self-acceptance. A realistic picture of yourself, I don't know, doesn't matter of who you are, what you're doing. Well, I guess there is a matter if you're not killing anyone, etc. But by that I mean,
insecurities, I've realized, is almost the mother of all evil. Because once you're insecure, you hurt, and once you hurt, you're going to be hurting other people. And that's how you inflict, you know. And it just made me realize that self-acceptance and acceptance for others is one of the biggest solutions to almost world peace. Yeah.
Yep.
And another thing that I was always kind of like, that makes me feel a bit more baffled, is the fact that why is that subconscious, like the subconscious aspect of us is kind of hard to understand. Even because I love interpretation, dream interpretation, and sometimes I do see symbols. And it's very hard for me to translate these symbols, and
me as well.
it's a lot of digging. So I don't understand why in our language is rather linear and easy to understand, but subconsciously, there's no such similar correlation and simplicity. It's, you know, subconsciously, everything is rather more complex. And I think that's one factor that sometimes inhibit raising our awareness as well, is the complexity of the subconscious aspect of us. Yeah.
First thing that comes to my mind when you mentioned that, I remember I had periods when I had a better sense of understanding my dreams, and they could be very metaphoric, twisted, symbolical, but I could really understand them. And then at a certain point, I also see this type of dreams, but I can't understand them. And I realized it has something to do with changing of vibration when it goes down and up as well. But again, the more you are into subconscious, the more you're paying attention. I think if you record your dreams, pretty much if you do that every day, and then you analyze your next 2 or 3 weeks and remember some of your dreams, then you will start to see certain synchronicity, and you will be able to understand what that dream was actually about. And so I have a category of the dreams which once in a while show up, well, at least a couple of times per month, and I pretty much understand what they mean, what they want to tell me. And some of the category, what the heck, you know?
Yeah, but like, for instance, I had one recent dream, and I contacted a lady who's really good in dream interpretation. And for her, right away, she figured out the explanation. But for me, it's like I have to do Google search, you know, for every aspect of the dream. And I might not even come up with the right exact. I mean, I need to be open to interpretation. It just, I don't know, maybe I need to do more further research. But what did you mean by raising the vibration? Are you saying that, you know, if we vibrate higher, we'll have more, obviously more vivid?
We just have more understandings, like more. It's like when you have flow of ideas, when you want to make something, let's say you want to make a project and you have missing details, and then suddenly you have a couple new ideas coming out right up in your mind, and they flow in so easily, and you just understand, oh, this is perfect. Or sometimes you're struggling, you're thinking, and nothing just pops out. Like it just it's not showing up, and it's like you cannot establish this connection of idea flow. And the same thing is about interpretation, you know. For myself, if I feel like my vibration goes lower, the dream quality may get worse, or my memorizing is also getting worse. And then I realized that, yeah, of course, because of this, that, and etc. and etc. So if I maintain myself as much as I can, completely different quality and understandings as well. This is a certain thing that I came to, but again, it also has all individual. It all has individual, how to say, perspective, approach, and the more you are thinking about dreams, more you are trying to understand them, the more you will understand within the time. And I think that one of the best tips is the feeling, emotion that you're feeling is very important. Sensation is very important when you're seeing the symbolical dream, because you're acting, you're interacting with something, and you're feeling something. Either it's disappointment or fear or expectation, and etc. And then when you wake up, or you're struggling with something, or you are trying to do something and it's just not working, and then you're waking up and then you try to realize, when and where do I feel exactly the same emotion or sensation? At what moment? And then you start to have connection of the real life and then your dreams. Sometimes we try to understand with logical mind the symbolical objects, but if we skip our emotions and feelings, we may lose the information as well. I realized that, and that's why I try to understand how I was feeling at this and that moment when I saw that dream.
Yeah, I think, yeah, like you said, it's important to be intuitive and be more in touch with yourself and understanding. But I also feel like sometimes with dreams, there are dreams that inform you about how you feel subconsciously, shows you your fear, shows you your aspiration. But there are also dreams that actually can give you a vision of what will happen next. And I think
Yes,
these
absolutely.
dreams are the toughest to
yeah, you need to learn to distinguish the dreams. You need to learn to classify them, because it's a very big, when we say dream, it's a very how to say, limited word, because I can say word galaxy with amount of planets, civilizations, it has very different sub levels, let's say, different planes, and that's why so sometimes you wake up, you clearly understand, this is a prediction of the future, this is recommendation, this is your friend from I don't know, different galaxy, or your spirit guide, or this is your negative emotion, or the exam you have to sort it out. And they all have very different understandings. Or sometimes this is a past life memory, which my higher self showed me, yeah. Or okay, this is lucid dream, and I just met another soul, and I can interact and chat with it, just about random stuff, whatever.
Well, then it takes a lot of experience to figure out that the person I'm encountering in the dream is actually my higher self, or maybe just me, or maybe something else. It takes a lot of experience in order to start being able more, translating these dreams and interpreting.
It's like, if you don't drink alcohol and somebody will give you to try various types of wine, of red wine, let's say, you will drink and they say they're all the same. But if you are tasting wine all the time, you're saying, no, this is different, has different flavor, it has different, I don't know, percentage of alcohol. Yeah. And then you say, no, it's just the same. And they said, no, you don't understand, it has different types of it. Yeah. And then the same is about artists. The artist can see, I don't know, 10 variations of orange color. And if you are not into that, you just see orange color. And the same thing about dreams. The more you go into that, the more, like, you see, the more you're asking this question, you already come to idea that the dream has certain classification, and you already gave various by yourself, because it's based on your personal observation. And this is already start. Yeah.
So it does require some kind of sense of experience. I feel you need to be more intuitive, sense of experience, reading more, understanding archetypes as well. Archetypes are very important to understand the subconscious mind. So yeah. Sorry, continue.
I know already a couple of symbols which are very stable, and if I know, if I will be shown them, that I know that they mean particularly this and that. So there is a certain language which is already established with subconscious, and I know that I can operate if it's about particular topic that my subconscious want to mention. I know that if this symbol will be used, then I will understand that. We will understand each other. Subconscious is using our associative sensation feeling based how to say, yeah, well, basically emotions about something. Like the people around you, they all have different vibration, and you associate them with something different. You think about each person differently. One is linked with a family, the other with the job, the third with a particular character or passion or awareness or whatever. And your subconscious already memorized them as a symbol based on that. They compare them, and then they're learning it as an alphabet. And then they try to show these people to tell you the story, for instance. But you don't really understand because you already try to see the person external part. Like, for instance, I remember I saw the guy, like when I see the friend I haven't seen for a while, but I chat once in a while, and I realized, why do I see him in my dream? And then I asked the question to myself, okay, what kind of thoughts come to my mind? What is my association linked with that person? And I was like, he's a good family man. He's a family guy. And I was like, yes. And he took me to that particular place in the map. He showed me direction. I was like, okay, now I understand. He was symbolizing family, even though it's just a random guy, you know. But my subconscious, based on my feelings, already grasped this information, you know, just absorbs it, then tries to communicate with me. Of course, we can also try to talk with the subconscious and before going to sleep, and try to ask your higher self, for instance, because higher self is in certain way part of subconscious, is affecting our subconscious, to show something in understandable way, appropriate way, or you can ask to show it in many different ways, but so until you understand, yeah. And that's why the numbers, for instance, are the most easiest thing to understand, because if you know at least the basis of the symbolism of the numbers, you can have already certain association in terms of certain information. Yeah.
Yeah, it's amazing how, like, I'm seeing sometimes number, like on an elevator, and I get off at floor 10. What does 10 mean? Ooh, things of that sort. And what I've noticed sometimes about my dream as well, I'm confronted with names. Like, I had a dream of a name Chloe, and I had to Google the name Chloe. Apparently, it's Greek for a young green shoot or fertility or something of that sort, you know, and it kind of symbolizes me. I'm 38, you know, still single, things like that. So it's my insecurity. Am I going to get pregnant? Blah, 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 blah. So it's interesting how I never knew the meaning of the name Chloe, but it's amazing. And what I loved about the dream is that, like, I've been asking the universe to show me signs about certain, not insecurities, but, you know, something of that sort about, you know, me being female, 38, blah, 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 blah. And that dream gave me far more comfort and things of that sort. So it's really interesting. But one thing I kind of want to touch base with is also part of subconsciousness. We also tap into the wider subconsciousness, which we all share, and somehow this bigger subconsciousness where we all belong also shares with us certain, let's say, symbols that shared across cultures, like losing your teeth, for example.
Yeah, that's very
typical. People dream that, you know, and flying or something like that, you know. So it's really interesting how we are one, yet there's some kind of individualistic things we can get from that source of, you know, supreme consciousness, that you want to call it, something like that, which is really interesting. Like sometimes when I go on Twitter and people are arguing and they're calling each other's name, things of that sort, especially when it comes to hot topics, you know. And it's so much negative energy. It's like, I don't want to be part of this. But then this is reality. This is reality. This is part of our world, whether I like it or not. It's always a question of mine. How do I engage with this hot mess? You know, trying to be positive, but then there is this fake positivity. You know, you're trying to be, sometimes, no, you need to deal with pain or people hurting, or, you know, dealing with people actually, you know, evil, you know, but trying to just maintain this inner wisdom when dealing with all those people and not try to be triggered. You know, I think is a tough call. Needs some kind of discipline and self-love and love for others as well. Just difficult.
It requires some work for sure. But I have to say that I very rarely try to involve somewhere because I just realize it has no point. It's just, let's say, if you perhaps have been instead of that person a couple of years ago, perhaps, then you have to understand that there is no point explaining your vision to that person, because that person will not understand. It's like you're talking different languages. It needs to go certain path, experiences, and blah, blah, blah. And then perhaps it will be able to understand your point of view. If it cannot, then it's just a wasting of time. And I just say myself, this is wasting of time. This is wasting of time. Not in a way that these people do not deserve, but it's just, there will be no point. It would be again my attempt to raise awareness of someone who doesn't want to have rising awareness. You know, it will happen naturally at certain point. But then when you see that the level of communication with the person is adequate in the way that you feel certain resonance despite of different opinions, then at least it's worth of sharing or exchange with them by respecting each other. This is what I would find as valuable exchange. Yeah. As for the rest, very rarely I try to interact because it's just wasting of time. Like,
yeah, I agree with you. You're better off investing your positive, beautiful energy into something that's more beautiful to, you know, make things even more beautiful around the world.
Your life path 11, which is 2, and 2 is diplomacy.
Yes. Okay. So somehow, yeah, there is definitely, I love the fact that you're into numerology and, you know, life paths.
Well,
so yeah.
Because today I was telling about it to my students, the same combination. And then you're telling me this, and I already remember this information because, see, that's what I love about it, because it's matching. And then you want it or not, but the life will put you in those circumstances when you will have to deal with that, because part of your life path is to express this energy, because there's need to be someone between these two.
I think I am that one person for sure. Especially enjoy whatever permanent positive, so-called permanent positive right now that you're having, because things always change to the better, and sometimes there are setbacks. So if you're having a great peaceful life, enjoy it, work on yourself and invest, because you don't know what life will throw you, like what kind of curve it will throw at your road. And it's not only you, it's collective. Like, for instance, when the war happened in Iraq, it's not like, oh, we decided to invade because it was a dictatorship. So sometimes it's not your choice. It's not your choice. You just find yourself in the middle of this, like, whoa, what is this? Yeah.
For instance, as an example, you know, some of the souls, you know, who do a suicide, they do suicide. So the next life, for instance, they can be sent to the planet where the wars are taking place. So that spirit and a soul would experience what is it like to start to value your life and fight for it.
That's an interesting, I'm goosebumps.
And I'm just trying to show that everything has a purpose. Divine has a purpose, because after this type of life and experience, so the next life would be, even if the person is struggling, has, I don't know, downs, ups and downs, that person would never attempt to do a suicide because he will value his life until the very last breath. And that is because of the experience he had in a life where he was trying to survive. He learned to value his life. That is why, unfortunately, being in a comfort zone, many of the souls cannot evolve. That's why they create Hunger Games.
That's interesting. I mean, yes, you always do need some kind of contrast, to see. But I feel sometimes if you're thoughtful enough, even if you're born in the most beautiful circumstances, rich, healthy, everything, political stability, you can still have appreciation for what you have if you are thoughtful and deep enough,
But how do you think, where does this thoughtfulness come from?
I think, I don't know, past life, or just some people might have this.
Past life experiences which learn them to value that. I personally believe so, yeah, because the wisdom comes from comparison and contrast, because the reality is based on duality, yeah, even from perspective of numerology. Life starts when comparison comes up, and you have a blank white paper, and until you get another color which is opposite to white, you cannot create anything. It will just remain white. So if you get another color, then interaction of two different colors is taking place, like white field and the black, and you start to create reality. If there is no opposition, there is no reality. And duality is also part of creation of God, which is given to us as very profound, very developed lessons from the Creator. And the part of this game is to not remember who you are in order to have very real, vivid experience. Because how else can you have this experience if you will know perfectly who you are?
Yes, it's like a great test to understand so many new things.
Yeah. And then at a certain time, you come to the point when you start to realize that, and then you are sort of, like Jim Carrey said, I'm nobody, or something like that.
I remember when I was 18, I became an atheist. And one of the main reasons that made me an atheist is like, if there's God, then why did he create evil? I had a huge issue with evil, and of course, I reject evil whatsoever. But now I'm spiritual, and especially what you're describing right now, it makes sense. It's hard to say, oh, now I understand why there is evil. It's also for us to evolve. But I guess what I'm trying to say is that yes, it is part of the truth.
Like, how can you be kind, loving, or good or brave person if there is no environment for you to offer to develop or show these qualities? It can only stand on your unmaterialized, like you as a soul, as essence, which comes from God, from the source, have never experienced that. Like literally, you have never. It's like a child watching the movie, seeing how others playing, reincarnating. But you're already watching the movie, the guy is running, shouting, like shooting, and 10 people dead, and you're just watching, oh, he's a hero, and etc. And then when you face it yourself, it's a completely different thing. Absolutely different. Personal experience and observation of without participation is completely different thing. It's like theory and practice. Practice comes from wisdom. Like wisdom comes from practice, if to be correct. Theory is the base, which we can use. But sometimes even theory is not always working in our life, and we have to go beyond, and we have to make a first step into unknown, and then this unknown is twisting your mind completely, because you have to go beyond what you always thought was real. Another great movie, I think, if I'm not wrong, Pleasantville was the great movie.
I
That's
didn't
the
watch
very
this.
positive.
Mm.
It's a cool movie about the brother and sister who were watching the black and white old TV serial, and then the guy who brought them TV, he pressed, he managed to get them into that TV and TV serial, and everyone was black and white and living their lives like this, and they came to bring the colors and bring the stereotypes, and
Oh,
everyone
wow.
said, "Oh, you are crazy," but then no, I'm alive, and that movie is just wonderful. It's like they're showing awakening taking place.
I'm gonna watch it for sure.
It's a cool movie for sure. It's worth of watching.
Yeah, yeah. You know,
Yeah,
Michael,
that
it was such a beautiful chat.
it was my pleasure.
Yeah, same here. It was really nice catching up with you.
Enjoy your day.
Yeah, you too.